TheorySabers.com.
Today's news of a new potential. I did about an hour stream before this talking about, where they could take it. The article in question, which I'll bring up in a minute, was talking about how they're going to adapt the new trilogy from the sequels. And that's what I'm afraid of, is like, why would you do such a thing?
Yeah, there's just obviously that if good writers can come in, they can make something, but they really left
Sure.
Star Wars in a it's almost after an attack has taken place. It's just such a terrible spot to launch off a new trilogy of films.
Yeah.
The prequels had intrigue. They had natural intrigue. What is the story of Anakin Skywalker? The sequels had natural intrigue. Where do these great legendary warriors go after this? How does the galaxy reform? Do we really have intrigue after the sequels? Does anybody really have a burning question? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And the Acolyte, just to go back to it, that show pisses me off because they dangle these questions that they're going to answer in front of you. Like, we're going to learn about this, we're going to learn about that, and then nothing happens. I was actually while I was on the stair climber today, I was thinking about the Penguin in contrast to the recent Disney Star Wars shows. And I was trying to contemplate what is the core thing summed up simply that makes one show just so much better than the other. And I think that what it is consequences. And consequences in a story are important. And when you have a story where the characters and their actions have consequences on the overarching story and where things are going, you invest in them because you don't know where they're going. But if you look at the Acolyte, characters flip-flop sides, not even every other episode, but every 15 minutes. One time they're loyal to the Jedi, one time they're loyal to the Sith. And even the appearance of a Sith ultimately has no consequences because of the way that it's structured in the story and the lore. And that's just a terrible way to approach a TV show. Why would you write a TV show where your characters and their actions don't have reactions that affect the universe in, certain ways? I just don't get it.
Because Leslie Headland did it. She has no vision, no creativity.
Yeah. That's what it all comes down to, is a big vision. And Star Wars wants to do this thing where they want to announce things before they know what that thing is. And I don't know why they keep doing that. How many sequel trilogies have we had announced since The Rise of Skywalker came out? Is this like 4 or 5?
So there was that the Game of Thrones writers. There's the Patty Jenkins movie. There was a Lando show or movie. There was Solo 2 was going to happen. And never
Red
did.
Squadron.
And then Taika Waititi movie, Ryan Johnson trilogy. My God, there's so many projects that just got dumped.
We got to be in double digits.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It all just comes down to the recreation of the Marvel formula, which has been is so difficult to recreate, where these Disney is running a franchise. They're not running a TV show or a movie. And that's the freaking problem. Is they're paying attention to it as an entirety and not focusing on the small elements of it that, people love.
I agree. I totally agree. And I think that we need to get people that are passionate not only about the franchise, but, respectful to George and what he created, so that when they do go ahead and create the new thing that they're, getting millions for, they have that in mind. Instead of creating some shit that nobody wants and that's only their perverted mind thinks of.
There's a real lack of hunger and being hungry at Lucasfilm, because when you have a show again like the Penguin, and I know if I'll just talk about this forever if you don't shut me up, but it's like that's a character that's not an A-list character, so the people have to create a good product or else people aren't going to watch. People will watch The Acolyte because they were promised Sith. I watched every episode of The Acolyte. You watched every episode. Now, we're not the normal person on the street, but you know what I mean. But the Penguin is it's just a small character, and the people that created him knew that, and they knew that they had to take this shit seriously. They knew that they're not the reigning champion. They have a product that they want to prove is worth your time. So
I agree, man. I think, there are some really talented people. Like, for example, Stuart Beatty, I think, gets it. I think he's not only talented, but also understands Star Wars. And I think you need to have both. So it's not like they're doomed over there. They just have to hire the right people. And it seems like they do, and then they let them go.
yeah.
It's like, what, I don't know, man.